Roger, go for deploy.
Hey guys, Doc here. Thanks for watching the show. Just before you go ahead and get into it, it's a great show with Tommy. I have to mention that we did have 2 or 3 sections of video difficulty with this show. So it's the first time we recorded outside. It's only our 4th or 5th video show, and the wind seemed to have blown the video camera down and then back at certain points of the show. So you'll notice that for very small sections, there is actually no video, which we're not happy with, but we are very new to this video stuff, so please forgive us. Won't happen again, and enjoy the show. So, back with Tommy Siera. Welcome back, my friend.
Thanks, guys. Good to be back.
Yeah.
Always good to be back.
Now,
3rd time, actually, but really, 2.
yeah.
Who's counting?
Yeah.
Oh,
We don't know the first one.
True.
The podcast that never was.
Yeah.
The one that shall remain nameless.
Yeah.
The one with you in it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was classic. So what are you up to, mate?
Sitting outside doing a podcast with 2 really good dudes.
Yep. That's right.
Good
Hands
looking
are up.
dudes.
Yeah.
Good looking dudes.
We're in
Like it.
South Melbourne. A
we?
cool building called the Commerce.
Yes.
The Commons.
The Commons.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Commons.
The Commons.
Yeah. Called,
The Commons.
we're at the
Commons.
apostrophes.
Yeah.
And,
just next door to the full stop. Oh, God.
So Tommy, welcome to Tommy to the Adventure Fit team the other day.
Yes.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, he's
How
gonna-
good is that?
He's
I know.
going
Fucking
to,
oath.
Awesome.
he's going to help us join the
City.
team and help us, help people have sick times all
Trip
around the world.
Sirikowski.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's changed his name to
Tommy Trip.
Tommy Trip.
Yeah,
Yeah. TT.
Adventure Tom. Yeah.
Adventure Tom.
Adventure
well,
Tom.
you're at the original
Adventure
Adventure
Tom
Tom.
Radio.
Yeah. No, it was cool. Bill caught me by surprise. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I wanted
I
to
thought
do
he
it
was
on
just
the
getting me around here to give him some more magic mushrooms.
Yeah.
Which is what
which
happened
actually,
as well.
yeah, which is a side benefit of giving someone a job. They're like, oh yeah, have some munchies.
Okay. Oh, that's great.
I wanted to do it on the podcast. I was going to make a big deal of it, and then start the conversation, and then be like, oh, do you want to come on and,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
whatever.
no shit.
But
No.
I don't
Yeah, it
know.
would have been pretty
No, I
weird
don't.
if I'd said no.
That's like, I've always thought, if I was ever going to propose to a chick, you'd want to be pretty sure she's going to say yes. So, if I wanted to make a big deal out of it, I'd hate if she was like, nah, I'm still India, mate. Fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm in, like, a public scene.
Oh, dude, we see it a lot skydiving. We
Yeah.
do marriage proposals
Oh, yes, you
probably
would.
once every couple of weeks. So the bride and the groom, the young gentleman will go up first and he'll do a tandem, and the female will come down second,
Yeah.
Yeah.
depending on who's asking that is. And we'll have a banner laid out
Yeah.
saying, will you marry me? And we have like flowers and a bit of champagne and
Really?
stuff like that. Yeah, happens all the time. It's really cute. Some people, it takes a lot to process that amount of adrenaline.
Yeah.
So some
Yeah.
people come down and they're just like,
Yeah.
this, that.
Yeah.
Most of the 80% of the time, it's really awesome. One time at St Kilda, the girl came down and she was just slumped on the ground and she was totally green. I might have told this story on the original
Nah,
podcast.
I don't
Actually,
reckon you have.
maybe on the
I don't
OG
reckon.
one.
I don't
OG
know.
was
never was.
The proposal one.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you did.
Okay.
proposal
Tell us
was-
anyway.
You're going to hear it again
Wait,
anyway.
you mean the sex dive?
No, not the sex dive. Not the sex
The
dive.
skygasm, you mean?
I don't know
The
what I can
airgasm.
say.
The
Yeah,
airgasm.
airgasm.
Yeah, airgasm.
Yeah. Oh, the imagination can run wild there.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Yeah, so the young guy, he was super awkward to begin with, and she was not dealing well with the fact that she just jumped out of a plane and she was slumped, and we're all standing there with cameras and he's looking at us like, do it. And he gets down and gets on the knee and she just leans over and starts barfing everywhere.
yes,
It was
great.
amazing.
So,
And he just sat there with her and held her hair, and I was like, man, that's
love.
love.
That's
That's
love
what
right
you
there.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's pretty
Classic.
cute.
So she said yes, though. Or did he ask her or not?
I don't know. I walked away. It was too awkward. I
Started vomiting myself.
But they do. They usually always say yes. We had one actually, I think, last weekend down at Torquay.
Yep.
It's really cute. Everyone
Yeah.
gets pumped because where they land, the family can all sit right there on the fence.
Yep.
And most of them know what's going on. So
Yeah.
everyone's got cameras out and everyone starts
Yeah,
cheering.
sick.
And it's a really cool little
That's a
vibe.
great way to do it.
Yeah.
So has anyone ever said no?
I haven't seen a no. I think the girl barfing was probably the closest
Yeah.
thing to a no, but
That's adamant yes.
yeah. She just blew chunks everywhere.
Yeah, right. You must be. What are your thoughts on marriage? Are you going to be getting married at some point in your
No,
life?
I'll never get married.
No?
Never.
Really? Why
Reason?
so?
You are a religious man, though. You're very Catholic.
I was definitely
Seems
born
us.
into a Catholic family. My uncle's a priest, and
Hot.
my family's a very, very Catholic family. But I'm definitely not. No, marriage is just an outdated, narcissistic thing, I think. Like, I just don't see any point in it. Like, I don't need to go through that process to show the woman that I love how much I love them. I do that every day, and they know that. She knows that
fair.
as well.
That's fair for sure.
I'd rather spend the money on, growing together or doing something that's going to be beneficial to the rest of our life rather than just blowing 25 grand on one night for some photos, like
20 to 40 grand, my mate's getting quoted in 2 different places at the moment. Yeah, 20 to 40, yeah. 20 in the US, 40 in Australia. So he's going over to the US to Miami to get married. Because the chick's family got some family in Miami.
Cool.
So 20 grand, it's still a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
And that's like a standard one.
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
I think 20
Standard
grand's
marriage.
pretty standard. That's like the figure.
20,000. Where do people
Too
get that
much.
sort of money from?
Well, he's paying for it himself with his missus, pretty much. Yeah.
It's too
Australia,
hectic.
must say.
But wouldn't you want? Wouldn't you want to just like? I mean, you could live like a king in Bali for like 6 months a year for that.
For sure.
I just don't understand that.
I do understand it a little bit. I don't mind
having
it.
a party. I understand having like a mad party.
Yeah,
definitely.
You get your
I'm
mates
down
around and you go,
with the
"Hey, I love
celebration."
this chick. Let's
Yep.
all just get real fucked up.
I'm down with
You
the
know.
celebration with the friends and stuff like that, but it's a little over the top with the flowers and the walking down the island.
Yeah.
Flowers.
Well,
You know what's the most fucked thing about marriage?
the fucking
flowers, bro.
Everything that goes with it, like when you factor in like a $5,000 photographer, a few $1,000
like
photographer.
talking.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are you doing for Valentine's Day?
Day's coming up in 3 days. He said, "Hey, babe, got your rock?
Yeah.
I love you, babe."
Fucking thing.
She'd be lucky if I even remember.
Yeah.
We have a thing though, because she's a paraglider. So whenever marriage comes up, I'm like, I'm not going to buy you a ring. I'll buy you a wing. I'll buy you a new paraglider.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's something that I'm going to see you use every day.
She's probably thinking he's just got a lisp this whole time.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you
Tommy's great, but
what type of wings do you like, babe? What type of wings do you like?
it's part Japanese. A ring.
Yeah. No, so if she gets anything, it's a wing.
Yeah. I'm go either way. I mean, I'm definitely not. I'm not getting married. Yeah.
There you go.
I'm definitely.
Yeah. We knew it. We knew it.
Definitely not against getting married. I don't particularly see any point in it, I think it is a bit of a waste of money. I think it's a bit of pressure and whatever, and it's definitely outdated. It's probably going to go by the wayside in the coming centuries, decades and centuries, I reckon. Marriage will probably be maybe a thing of the past. Because if you think about if something's succeeding, then it's got a better than 50% success rate, right? Like, if you're doing something and you're doing it more than half the time and you're failing, you wouldn't say you're a success at it.
No, there's no point doing it. It's setting people up for failure. It's asking so much of two people.
It is.
So the act of marriage, technically at the moment,
would be failing, right?
But it is failing.
More than 50% of marriages end in divorce.
That's what I mean.
Imagine just going to a cafe, right, and then trying to buy a sausage roll or something and saying more than 50% of these sausage rolls have cancerous fucking shit in them. And everyone's going, oh, this is great. Are you fucking retarded?
I'm going to spend 20 grand on that damn sausage roll.
Yeah.
This sounds great.
Yeah, no, it's classic, isn't it? But the thing is, see, this is where I reckon that the whole system is wrong, is marriage is probably perfect for the 44% of people that it works for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or that system works, no worries. Because when I read Sex at Dawn with Chris Ryan...
Yeah, that's another way of looking at it.
The whole thing that I took from that was like, I don't give a fuck if you want to have a harem. Like, that was done in the day and people lived with a harem, like a bunch of wives. If a girl wants to have a bunch of fucking dudes, if you want to... Gay marriage, obviously. If you want to not get married, if you want to live in a fucking commune with a bunch of different people and whatever, or you want to get married, like, everyone should be able to do whatever feels right to them. You know? There's too much structure and rigidity to, like... the way you want to live the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So I think, marriage is probably not a bad thing. Maybe. I mean...
For some people.
Yeah.
I think we're just doing it wrong.
Yeah. In what way? What do you reckon?
I think it's a narcissistic... keeping up with the Joneses, who can do the flashiest thing, who's getting the biggest diamond, who's spending this, who's spending that. It shouldn't be about that. It should just be about the two people and their love for each other. And I'm down with that, and I totally respect people that want to do that. Like, I sometimes say to my girlfriend Brie, if you did really, really, really want to get married, maybe I'd go do like some cool Viking ceremony in Norway, or go into the country in Australia and do like an Indigenous like wedding ceremony with the Aboriginals or something like super unique and super cool, but also very ritualistic. You know what I mean? Like,
I think when
rather than just getting shit faced and
Yes,
being a dickhead.
Yeah,
which
I
do
definitely
all the
think that
time
whenever
anyway.
you've been married about 1,000 times.
totally against just drinking beers and acting like a goose.
No, I think definitely when
Totally
any
hypocritical.
sort of consumerism ideal, attaches itself onto something like this, there's always like a reason to fail. This is why I become such a cynic of Christmas, because
Yeah.
like it's just a marketing ploy of like who can buy the best shit.
Yeah,
and
it's
just
terrible.
like, well, that's great, and even I actually put out a post a couple of months ago talking about, if Christmas isn't about buying stuff, then what is it about? And everyone says, oh, it's such a great time to see your family and everything. And then I was like, well, why do you need a time to go see your family? Can't you just go and see your family?
Yeah, well, that's for sure. In an ideal world, that's correct. You should just make time for your family. But I don't.
Or don't. If you don't want to see them, then you just don't have to go and see them.
I mean, it does. Yeah, I agree. I agree for the most part, for sure, in what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just think like Christmas, Easter, all these holidays, I mean, do you replace them with Family Day on December 25th?
Well,
do you need
gotta
it?
remember
Do you need
that's
a day?
Catholic. It's a Catholic.
yeah.
It's a Catholic day. Like Australia's a multicultural country. We've got so many people from different religions. Like, why does it just have to be Catholic?
We should have an
No,
OR
that's right.
day.
But a lot of people from different religions don't celebrate Christmas.
Yeah, I know, definitely.
You know what I mean? And they
but
celebrate
that's why
their
we
day.
could make something like a National Family Day.
Yeah, we
Something
could.
like that.
We definitely
Yeah.
could have a national family
Yeah,
day.
that's
It could
probably-
be done better. I like
Yeah.
it in theory,
Yeah.
without the presents. But
I reckon we should have like
Presents are ridiculous.
we should
Yeah.
take the
So much
Jewish
use of
tradition.
shit.
it's terrible.
Oh, the presents.
Yeah,
It's
like my
basically
nan.
just everyone's just wasting money. Everyone
Yeah.
should just throw $300 out the window.
I
and
just
go, done.
realised. I've just yelled out my nan, and my nan listens to the show. Remember I was telling you? She
Yeah.
listens to every show. Nana Wendy.
Yeah, Nana Wendy.
Nan, look, if you're listening, that bloody car thing. She gave me a little GoPro thing that like sits on the front of your car in case anyone stacks into your car and you need and they do a runner on you.
But you don't have a car.
Nah.
She's got high
But-
hopes. Maybe one day. Maybe one day he'll
But
buy a car.
at the time, I
put
had
on
a
your
car.
plate as well.
At the time, I did have a car. And I looked at it and I was like, this is going to serve very, very little purpose to me.
Did you say that?
No, I didn't say it to Nan. I said it to
I love it so
myself.
much.
Yeah.
I fucking hate it.
Nan's going to hate me now. She's going to
Oh,
hate
well,
me.
we love Nan. We love Nan.
Yeah, Nana Wendy.
Yeah,
Shout
yeah.
out to Nana Wendy.
Yeah.
But Nan, not your finest moment. But but the presents that you get, like, I want to now just get to the point, I think, where I haven't yet, but I've thought about it for the last few years. Like, don't give me a present or get me. I often ask for books, but maybe just
I only
fucking
ask
give me
money.
give me nothing or give something to someone else. I'm not saying that to like, oh, check me out, I'm fucking whatever. But like most of the shit you get, we're all probably in the same boat. Like we're trying to have less shit in our lives.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I've just got so
Practical
much
gifts are where
rubbish.
it's at. Like
Yeah.
I hate getting gifts, and I've said to Brie like birthdays, Christmas, and that. I'm like anything practical. Like I got a knife sharpener for my birthday from my old housemate, and I use it every other
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I love it, and I
Yeah.
think about them every time I've got it in my hand. I'm like,
Yeah.
best damn present ever. You
Yeah.
know, like.
I got a wheel of cheese.
Yeah, totally. Something enjoyable and practical.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I can see that, but it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be extravagant and high tech or
Yeah.
anything. It can
Yeah.
just be basic.
Yeah, no, but I think the thing with marriage and Christmas and stuff, like, yeah, I do like him for that reason a lot. Like, Corey's wedding was in Crescent Head in New South Wales, and we
Beautiful
were all,
spot.
Yeah,
I've been to a wedding in Crescent Head before.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
amazing.
awesome. And most everyone that was there was from the peninsula, or they didn't live in Crescent Head. You know, there might have been a few Crescent locals, but most. 90% of people, probably 100% to be honest, weren't from Crescent Head because it's just where the holiday house is and they love it up there. But it was 3 days, so it wasn't a wedding where you go in on the day, have beers, catch up with a few people, get out of there, whatever. We were stuck together for 3 days, and it was, looking back on it, could have been the best weekend of my life.
We
Like,
did
it
a
was
3-day wedding for my
fucking
friends
awesome.
there as well. It was
Yeah.
all time.
Heavy to like ask that much of people to a degree, and some people shot out a day early, stuff like that. But realistically, like I had nothing else to do but just sit around and catch up with all my best mates all day, every day. And
Share some quality time.
yeah, it was
That's what it's about.
It was fucking great, and whether people actually implement something like that if they don't get married, Nuga isn't going to get married to Soph. You know Nuga?
Yep.
Not going to get married to Soph. They've been together 10, 12 years or something like that. And yeah, they're in the next
Does she know that?
Yeah.
Or are you dropping the bomb now?
No, she knows. She knows. Sorry, Soph, son out the laugh.
Yeah. Sorry,
no, she knows. No, it's more from her family than his, I believe, because I think her brother or sister, one of her brother, she's got a brother and sister. One of them is in a really happy relationship, has been for 10 years or whatever, and they're not getting married, and it's just not their thing. And they want to have a celebration the next couple of years. So, yeah. Having said that, like for me, I don't really mind either way. I'm happy to. If my chick wants to get married, I'll get married.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. That's all how in life, really, in general. If it's something that I don't give a fuck either way, and someone is a yes or a no, then I'll just go with the yes or a no.
But you'd be giving a fuck if you had to pay 20 grand for it.
No, 20 grand's 20 grand. I mean, hopefully by the time I get married, 20 grand, it's a lot of money for sure. And I think, you could spend. Well, it's a pretty good way to spend 20 grand in a way.
Massive travel, though, you could.
No, I know, but you could also have, like, the most epic day of your life. Like, if you're having this party that we're talking about, it's going to cost you, 20 grand. You know what I mean?
Oh, what are they? If everyone just BYO
Depends how
drugs
you do
and
it.
alcohol.
Yeah,
Depends how
no,
you
that's
do it.
right. But what I'm saying is, I don't care about spending 20 grand. I know it's a lot of money and it's, you can do a lot of other cool things with 20 grand, but, I'm not going to get married for 5 years. Like, 20 grand's, it's people waste 20 grand on a car, I know. So
Do you have a girlfriend, Bill?
Do I? No.
So you got to meet a girl first.
Yeah, that's right.
Woo!
Thanks for.
So he's single.
It just goes straight down.
Tommy's
just goes
at
bang.
at Doc's Adventure Bit Life. Mobile 04044. Blah, blah, blah. I'm taking applications currently.
He's got a medium-sized rod.
Yeah. Got a good Hummel sword.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. What would be the three best assets of Bill? Doesn't have to be physical. All right. But
Didn't we do this on another podcast? Just about. Didn't we do this on another podcast?
Did we like a long time ago?
I don't know. What's your question?
All right. If you're going one of those game show hosts, right?
Yeah.
Or you go on one of those game shows, and the host says to you, "All right, what are the three
What if
best
I go on
things?"
one of those game show hosts?
I knew you were gonna. But I corrected myself. I corrected.
No, I know. It just sounded funny because we're talking about good qualities. Like, I'll take on a game show host. No,
What would
quality
you say?
number one, must host a game show. Quality number two.
All right, you say, "Hey, I'm Bill. This, and this."
What qualities in a chick?
What? No, for you. Like, what are your best qualities? Like, why would girls want to get with you?
Pitching myself.
Three. Yeah. Three best things about you.
Oh, fuck no. Three best things about me. Oh no! Why don't you tell my three best things about me?
No, hang on.
No, because I want to talk about myself. Why don't you? Come on.
Well, all right, okay. If I was like the best mate on the show, I'd be like, all right, three good things about Bill. He's both professional and unprofessional at the same time, which works well in the business.
Chick's gonna love that.
Yep.
Dream guy.
Yeah, he just had a hernia taken out.
His groin's been upgraded, so that's a positive.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And loves anal. I'll get nothing.
No.
That's a tough one.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
It'd be a tough
Don't know
one.
what my
Who knows what girls look for, though, anyway? Like,
Personality.
honestly. Hope so.
Yeah.
Nah, they do though, for sure.
Well, you and I have
Not that we know.
girlfriends, and clearly it's personality.
Oh, it's definitely personality.
it's definitely not looks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Honestly, I don't know what it is sometimes.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Yeah, no, but girls definitely girls are like it's what you hear, right? What you see and what you hear.
Yeah, I think so.
As opposed to, I'm reading a book by
Emotional Connection.
I'm reading a book about by Mark Manson at the moment. You know, the Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Yeah.
It's like number one on all the
Girlfriend's reading it at the moment.
Yeah. So I'm reading his first book. It's called Models, and it's kind of like the book The Game. Remember The Game by Neil Strauss? So it's about. It's not.
Is it really?
Yeah, but it's good. It's good. It's about human psychology and
The
stuff.
game's
Really.
about like techniques and shit.
Yeah, I
isn't
know.
it?
It's not. It's not like that. It's not.
right.
Is that the pickup artist?
Yeah.
book? Never read it.
It's not.
Yeah,
It's the first book I ever stopped reading. I was like,
Really?
fuck
Oh,
this book.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever try
I put it down. I was like, this is fucking garbage.
Yeah.
I would like to read it again now, though, because I reckon I would take a lot of the human, like the way that people operate, very, very, like it'd be very interesting. Whereas at the time, I was just like, this is just rubbish. But I'm reading this book by Mark Manson, and it's called Models, and it's about, I think it's basically about like picking up chicks, but it's about like finding the woman of your dreams or whatever.
Yep.
And basically, this is not boding well for me, like sounding like a desperate fucking loser. but it was because the Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck's a fucking awesome book.
Yeah.
And this is his only other book, and I was reading it, and it's just about psychology. It's basically about human psychology, what makes people do the things they do and whatever. And it talks about like what this dude believes that women want in a guy,
Oh, and so what is it?
And that's Apparently.
Yeah.
That's like authenticity is probably the number one thing.
Honestly.
You know? Vulnerability and authenticity.
Knowing who you are.
Yeah, knowing who you are and not giving a fuck about that, you know? Being happy to have a point of view on things and disagree with people.
Yeah.
You know, have a strong will, treat people well, all these things, you know? So yeah, like
Basically,
which is totally
just looking for a good bloke.
Yeah,
pretty
that's
much.
exactly right.
Pretty
Just what a
much.
good dude.
I'd probably date that dude.
Yeah,
100%.
That's right.
I want to be mates with that guy.
Yeah.
It's so funny, like listening to different opinions about what people think with these sorts of, you know, they're not really contentious issues, but just think the age-old questions, you know. And I just finished reading 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson, Dr. Jordan Peterson, and he
Is that his newest book?
Yeah, so good. All his viewpoints are very much evolutionarily related. So he looks into evolutionary psychology, which is fascinating, you know. And I think there's a really good intertwining factor between evolution, so how we've survived to here. So there are some fundamental things that we have to do to make sure that we're happy and how we relate to people, because evolution has dictated that.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
It's the path I'm going down with my whole life at the moment.
Well, I mean, you know, that's just a thing of eating healthy to survive, trying to overcome difficult tasks, you know, and challenging things and staying, you know, mobile and move. All these factors have allowed us to survive to 2018. I think Joe Rogan spoke about this, you know, and we have to constantly do those things to keep everything happy.
We need to strip back a lot, definitely. That's what I'm doing with my whole life at the moment. That's why I moved down the coast. That's why I've changed my life in so many different ways. I'm stripping back to being a caveman, sort of.
Yeah.
And
And you're probably the happiest you've ever been.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm taking control of my life again.
Exactly.
It's so fascinating. And like, when you look at our generations at the moment, we're all basically experiments. Like, we've evolved. I mean, who was the podcast? What was the name of the cosmologist? Was it Geraint or?
Geraint
Lewis.
Geraint.
Yeah.
Could get it all day.
Yeah.
We couldn't get it the first time we interviewed him, mate.
And he said the name.
We called him 7
Great
different names.
podcast, by the way.
Yeah, it's good.
But he said life began, was it 3.5 billion years ago, probably in the bottom of the ocean as bacteria.
Yeah.
We've evolved to current day in certain ways, and at the moment, like, we walk around with shoes on, we have sunglasses on, we're sleeping 30 stories off the earth.
We walk around with shoes on, you don't.
I don't anymore. We're totally
That's good.
disconnected from the way we've evolved, and like, it's such a direct correlation to so many types of mental diseases, mental issues, health issues, things like that.
Culture's moving too fast for us.
Yeah,
Can't keep
100%.
up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Through stripping back my life into all these basic evolutionary fundamentals, like, I don't take my ADHD medicine anymore.
No shit.
Like, my body's changing, my mind's changing, everything's changing for the better, and it's building up, and I just feel better and better the more time I'm stripping things back.
So you know what's interesting about that is these psychologists and stuff, and Jordan Peterson is just an example because he's in the frame of my mind, but he comes under a lot of flack for saying things like, you know, the reasons why the way we are is because evolution, and, you know, the fact of the matter is, you know, why a woman would want a man is because, you know, like, why do girls aren't like bad boys? It's because bad boys can't be swayed, and they're assertive, and they know that they're going to protect you because they're okay with conflict and things like that, you know.
Full of confidence.
Yeah, full of confidence. You know, nice guys always finish last because they're pushovers and they act like children, and, you know, all these stuff that he, you know, that's a very sort of pseudo way of saying what he says. But people don't like that sort of stuff, you know, which is, I think, is really fascinating, because if you just look at the way we've evolved, evolution has so much to answer for as to why we are the way we are today.
Yeah.
You know, you're not like, we are animals. We're a species called the sapien, you know, and the erectus, sorry to be specific, and we have to constantly do things that have made us the way we are today, you know, like even something as simple as having the mobility to squat. Like, it feels shit.
The squatty potty.
Well, that's right. Like, it just feels shit to get out of a chair when you've got no mobility. What does that do?
Just because we can now do things like that are luxuries doesn't mean that that's good for us.
Exactly.
At all.
Yeah.
Like, you have to go, sometimes you just have to think, I can take the lazy, easy route, or I can do what I've been doing for however long we've evolved.
1.8 million years for this one.
It's, you know, there's so many things that we are doing just because it's total convenience that we shouldn't be doing.
What about this one, Siera? So I listened to this podcast, Simon Holloway, Alexis's old man, sent it to me.
Yeah, right.
And it was Rich Roll with, I think I've definitely spoken to you about this. I don't know if we said it on the show. I'm sure we would have. But it was Rich Roll with this dude, Dan Buettner. And Dan Buettner is a Nat Geo guy, and he got paid by Nat Geo to do a study on the world's longest living people. Mm-hmm. So the study was called The Blue Zones of Longevity. And he wrote a book about it, I believe. And it became or maybe it was just a big article on Nat Geo, but he did like a documentary, I think, as well. Anyway, I listened to this podcast with him and Rich Roll because he did that. And then it was really popular article, really interesting, went really well. So Nat Geo got him to go back and do the Blue Zones of Happiness. So same thing, 10 longest living people in the world. How do they act? What do they do? Where are the correlations? And then with the Blue Zones of Happiness, so longevity and happiness, top 10 people. And the only thing, like, there's a lot of stuff that you would imagine, like obviously education, having by and large a good diet, these things are all intertwined here and there or whatever, like the stuff that you would normally assume. And then the one thing that was a correlation between pretty much every city or every country or whatever, every region that was in both, was they were walking or bike cities predominantly. No one was sitting in their car for 2 hours a day. Isn't that interesting?
That's very interesting.
Because think of the act of, they reckon, I think they say that we're like 60 or 90 minutes, I believe, is the average in your car per day. In a loud, confined fucking hunk of metal in traffic.
It's gross.
Sitting down. You know what I mean? Like, in cities, no one's ever just cruising in the traffic. Like, I'm not a very highly stressed guy. Like, we're all pretty relaxed dudes. But, like, traffic's stressful. It's shit,
stressful.
It's very stressful.
And yeah, that was the major correlation. Everything was like a bike city. And I don't have a car anymore. When I ride to the Commons, it's fucking great.
Yeah.
It's passive exercise.
Bike riding is great.
Yeah, it's passive.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, it's a little bit of exercise. You're out in the elements, and it's just way more relaxing. I totally get it.
The scary thing is that the genuine average Western lifestyle is wake up at 7:30 or 8, get ready for work, get in a car in peak hour traffic for half an hour, go to work, sit at a desk all day for 8 hours, get in that car again, go back home from work for another 45 minutes, listening to people on the radio talk complete shit that won't benefit you at all.
Yeah,
you get back
ads
home
from every left,
and you're
right, centre.
so fucked because you're so fatigued from how disingenuous this life is to who we are as a species, that you sit in front of a TV, again sitting drinking red wine to dull the effects. Yeah. That's 5 days a week.
And getting frustrated at yourself because you're not watching the movie because you're on your phone too much.
Yeah.
It's a total disconnect from how we've evolved. That's what it goes back to. I think you guys were talking about it with the cosmologist, that it's such a fragile ecosystem, and it's such a one in a zillion thing, the way the Earth's evolved and allowed us to live here. And to think that you can just go, hey, I'm just going to sit under a fluorescent light for 12 hours a day and I'm going to wear shoes all day and I'm not going to see natural light with my own eyes and I'm going to sit in a polluted car and things like that.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous that people think that we can survive and keep doing that.
Well, I think it's sad that people think that that's what life is. Like, people don't take on the personal responsibility to make a difference.
Definitely, good point.
And that's a real issue to go, fuck, my life sucks. Like, if only this was good. And there's, they're looking outside as the culprit when we have the power for everything. For everything. And it's hard. Like, it's hard to make habitual change.
It's a deep
but it's
rut.
also it is. But you have to do that.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going anywhere. I think we're done. I think we'll evolve to this, because evolution's obviously an adaptation to your current environment, and the current environment we are in now, it's going too fast for us, and that's why there's a lot of the problems. But like 12 years ago, all dogs were wolves, and we forced evolution on them. I have a fucking sausage dog. My next door neighbour has a fucking Great Dane. You know what I mean? Like,
it's true.
So that's forced and rapid evolution. Like in a normal space of evolutionary, that wouldn't happen in 12,000 years, but it has happened. So I think because it's not what we've created isn't. We're great because we're talking about it. We're not great, but we're aware. We're woke to what's going on. You're doing something about it. Me and you do little things to, with this conversation we're having,
Well, we're very much minimalists, and we
to a degree, for sure. I mean, we're not as deep in it as Siera is or whatever, but that's like there's probably 0.00001, I would say, people that are thinking of this. That are doing stuff like that.
The only thing that I would say to juxtapose that would be that, to argue with that, is that wolves became dogs because they provided a benefit to the human species, right? Everything that we're doing now, yes, there's a lot more growth and, there's a lot more good in the world, but there is a massive rise in mental health issues, and that's a bad thing. So I think that people are going to address that, and we're eventually going to see a way back to, or a new pathway to something that's actually better for us,
Yeah, I think we'll just, for sure. I'm just saying I don't think we're going to be evolving back to Homo sapiens. We're going to be we're not going to be evolving back to hunter-gatherers.
No.
Or culturally, culturally, it's not culturally going back to hunter-gatherers, and we're going to keep evolving into something different. Obviously through artificial intelligence, everything's coming on, everything's going to be different. But I just think we're not going. We're not going backwards.
So maybe in 100,000 years, the way we're living right now is actually quite good for our health.
Because in comparison to the way they're going to be living then,
yes,
for sure.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Why's that?
I think we're going to figure it out. I think it's going to be sweet. I think because most of the time, we're able to, humans are pretty fucking crafty, and we build on, our forefathers and the thought leaders before us, whatever. Normally if there's a problem, we fix that problem. We can figure it out. And I don't think we're too far gone, I think
definitely
there's a lot of spirit in humans. I think we're getting more, we're getting more spiritual, thinking about others more. We're trying to look after people better. There's less fucking war, there's less fucking aggression, there's less, we're fucking the planet a little bit, but, we're going to have to fix that. But I think that we will continue to evolve mentally to be a better species. I really think that. And I think that it's going to happen really fast in about 50 years' time, just through artificial intelligence. We're going to understand things through help of computers a lot better. I genuinely think that, and I think that it's gonna a lot of our problems will be fixed through computer intelligence rather than us, and then I think everything will be computerized. It'll look like the Jetsons, whatever. I don't know, but I think we'll be a smarter, more well-rounded, less destructive species in the future. I think that.
I don't want a bar of that world. I'm back to hunter-gatherer.
Yeah, but the problem with that is. The problem with that is it's just impossible to go back because hunter-gatherers, agriculture is too far gone. Agriculture is a downhill, what's that? A snowball.
Yeah.
It's a snowball. You can't, unless we have, the one thing that could take us back to hunter-gatherers, and I think would actually be really good for the world in the way that it would bring people together. I think it would fuck off religion, it would fuck off race, it would bring everyone together, is if we get hit by an asteroid or fucking some other cataclysm happens. I generally think that's the only thing that's going to bring people together right here, right now.
And we lose all our knowledge.
No. We become... Because you know what I was talking about with Tribe and Sebastian Junger?
That book,
people
exactly
pulling together, and that I feel like that might be the case, put up against all odds, that might bring people together. But I've lost my train of thought there. But look, I think agriculture. Because there's too many people on the planet, and we're not gonna genocide 3/4 of the planet because we want to go back to a more hunter-gatherer, way of life. However, the population will fucking go to 1.2 billion by 2100 due to replacement rates, so that'll help. But
what? As in, we're going to go back down from 7.5 billion to 2 billion?
Yeah, 2 billion.
What?
Yeah.
What's
Do you know
that?
about replacement rates?
No.
I was in our group. I mentioned this the other day.
You sent it to me.
So the way replacement rates work. So overpopulation is a huge issue because it's going to peak at 2050.
Yeah.
I know what people always say. 9 billion by 2050. 9 billion by 2050. They say 2050, not 2100, because the people that know and do the stats know that by 2100 it's going to be totally different. It's going to be 2 billion, and that's because of
5 billion people are going to go.
7 billion, yeah.
Oh, 7, sorry, yeah.
They're not going to. So what happens?
They'll die.
But it's very easy to understand. I'd never heard of it before until I had it explained to me. But it's very easy to get your head
people
around.
Having less kids.
Yeah. So replacement rates in the Western world are 2.1% or something. So, and that 1%, you need to have 2.1 babies on average between two people to keep the population the same because of infant mortality, just people dying young before having kids, and people not having kids at all. 2.1 is our replacement rate. In Africa, basically, the replacement rate, I'm not sure what it is, but it's more like 4 or 5 because of all the huge rates of infant mortality. So to actually have those two people, their offspring, to produce 2 more people, you need to have 4 or 5 kids, because of all those factors. But China, when they brought in the one-kid policy, so China's replacement rate now is their replacement rate is 1.1. So per 2 people in China, and this is happening in a lot of countries. Lots of Europe is under the replacement rate.
Yeah.
So China, for example, if you have 1.1 that's not their replacement rate that they need. Sorry, that's their birth rate. That's how many kids they're actually having. So the replacement rate in China might be 2.5, 2.3, whatever. So, but China, people in China are having 1.1 children per couple, right?
Well, that's policy though, isn't it? Like
Not
one
anymore.
child.
Not
it's
anymore.
not a
But
thing.
it was, and that's what it all stemmed from.
Yeah.
But now it's like culturally, that's kind of what's going on. But
Right.
it also is happening in Europe a lot. Like a lot of the countries in Europe have a child rate of like 1.7 or whatever, and a replacement rate of like 2.2. So,
Yeah.
but China, right? Use of China. So if they need 2.2 people to keep their population of couple of billion, whatever they've got, if they need 2.2 children, they're having 1.1, then in one generation, that population of 1.1 is on track to go down to that population of 2 billion is on track to go down to 1 billion.
Yeah.
And the next generation, if it stays the same, it's on track to go to 500 million.
Yep.
And then, so it halves, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
a lot of the biggest, most populated countries in the world have lower replacement rates. All of Europe are under their replacement rate. So
Japan's massively.
yeah, but you've got to wait for those generations to go through a little
Yeah,
bit, you know what I
yeah.
mean? For people to die. But basically, it's predicted to peak at 2050 at 9 billion. And then Elon Musk has spoken about it and said it's one of the most like AI and replacement rates under population. And I don't really understand enough economically and socially and culturally, whatever, why it would be huge. But our culture is set up for 6-7 billion. Like to take that in 50 years back to 2 billion. There's a lot of problems with that, which I'm not smart enough to explain to you right now.
Yeah.
But that's how it
Well,
works.
there would be a massive decrease in output.
Yeah.
Huge. Like,
And the infrastructure that's been built to
Infrastructure's
accommodate
the biggest
that
one, I
amount of
reckon.
people to then strip
it'd be
back.
wasted.
Yeah.
It'd be ghost towns.
You would have
everywhere.
ghost towns.
Yeah, I know.
You would have massive ghost
Crazy.
towns.
Yeah.
It'd be
There's
Chernobyl.
already ghost towns.
Yeah.
There's already places like
Chernobyl's a
For
massive
sure.
ghost town. I think that was because of a radiation
Yeah,
thing.
that was really
yeah,
Say
that's
so.
a bit
that. No,
different.
there's still
That's
some,
because Godzilla.
I saw a documentary on some old Russian woman that's like never left. And she's like eats wild mushrooms out there. She
Really?
might glow in the
12
dark a
heads,
little
7
bit.
arms. 7 arms.
But no, she's like
7 tits.
killing it out there. Yeah, she's
That's
Yeah.
it, you know.
Yeah, but it's pretty fascinating, the replacement rate thing. But, you know, that might help us. You know, if we get to the point where by 2100, right, we might have 40 years of artificial intelligence, which means computers are 1,000 times faster at processing, whether
Yeah.
that's smarter, but faster at processing than us. And we might have the need for...
Speed.
We might have the need for 1/3 of the amount of land.
Yeah.
You know? So we might be able to just fucking bulldoze a bunch of cities and put up and plant...
Trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? But, you know, I think we'll
Figure it out, eh?
figure it out, yeah. I have faith that we will. Because, you know, necessity is the mother of invention. And we need to figure it
Yeah.
out. So we will. I
Yeah,
think.
definitely. No, you're
I
right.
don't know how. But I'm hoping
We'll just
we will.
put the you only
the feelers
ever
out there.
They always say you should only ever
Put the
give a
feelers out
task
there.
to a busy man or a busy woman.
Say again?
Because they'll figure it out, you know.
What'd you say?
You only ever give a task to a busy person because they will just sort it out.
Is that a saying?
Yeah, it's the
Are you
same.
trying to come up with one?
sounds about right.
It sounds about right, yeah. Well, maybe people would just benefit from just doing shrooms every weekend and trying to figure that shit
Oh,
out.
we'll definitely benefit from that.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Elon Musk and the Falcon Heavy?
We certainly
Yeah.
can.
Sure.
How hectic was that?
It's
Did you guys
amazing.
watch The Thing? The whole 10-minute
Nah, I
doc?
haven't
No, I
watched
was
it.
driving.
Been too busy, eh? I really want to.
fuck.
Time.
Yeah.
It is.
I've watched a lot of the launches. Like
Yeah.
I've watched a bunch of them.
Yeah.
They're so interesting.
Isn't
I
it?
saw one when I was in Florida last year.
Yeah, okay.
It's
What,
awesome.
saw it live?
Yeah, saw it live.
Really?
Yeah.
A SpaceX one?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck, that's
It
sick.
was rad. It's fantastic.
Tommy
All
went
my
to
friends
SpaceX,
were on-
actually.
Didn't you
all
go to
my mates- all my mates were on the beach in Florida posting their live Facebook feed from watching it.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck,
Heaps
that's
of my
sick.
friends because I've got a lot of friends in Florida.
Yeah. No, SpaceX is an amazing place. They make their own carbon fiber there.
Yeah.
They have this massive thing. Because I've actually walked in there, which is great. Actually,
Tommy
you were there, weren't
Tommy
you?
did a tour of it.
Yeah, really?
I did a whole tour of
Oh
SpaceX.
my god,
yeah.
that would be
I
fantastic.
slept through it.
Yeah, Bill slept through it.
Wow.
Slept through it.
Slept through it, yeah. Plus. Yeah, it was incredible. It was outside of it. They have the first rocket from memory that re-landed back onto Earth. Just this huge rocket there. It's this huge warehouse. You walk in there. You see where Elon Musk's desk is. They just built this like little internal office inside this huge warehouse in there. A lot of the times, apparently, he just sits under his desk and like looks up and just like like he's just a real weirdo.
Super weird. Have you read his
But just a
book?
ledge.
Yeah,
Nah,
his book's
I know I have.
fucking
I
sick.
read the first third.
He used to give the tours and stuff in there.
Inspirational, man.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones where, which you would imagine, like he's
Yeah.
changing the world. But because I remember I had it on my, I love Elon Musk, but I had it on my bookshelf for so long, and then I just didn't grab me for something. I just couldn't be fuck reading it.
Yeah.
And then even though I really love Elon Musk, and then I spoke to Drew, and I'm like, yeah, Elon Musk, this and that. I'm like, have I got his book actually? And he goes, oh, bro, top 5.
Yeah.
And Drew has. He has 1,000 books in his bookshelf.
Yeah.
He's fucking, he reads.
He's read a lot.
He's read a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a big call, man. He goes, bro, it's one of the best 5 books I've ever read.
Yeah.
So I read it straight away, and I tend to agree. It's fucking fascinating.
So why though? Because I only got to like the first third, and then I stopped.
Just his determination.
yeah, for sure.
It's so next level.
Yeah. So I heard that he, when they were trying to figure out how to get a rocket to land back down, if he failed on the one that was the success, that would have been it.
Yeah.
They were out of money. They would have been out of money.
out of money.
It happened.
It's happened heaps. They've
with
been on
Tesla,
the verge of being bankrupt so many times.
Tesla's pretty much the same.
Tesla's
like,
going downhill, but like they're still just throwing coin into it.
well, Tesla's the most. Tesla, if on the stock market, is the most expensive car company in the world.
Yeah.
And it has, and don't quote me on this, but it has a market share. Of like 0.05.
Yeah.
And it's the most expensive car company in the world.
Yeah.
Because of the potential.
Yes.
People buy into the potential. This is the perfect
the
example
confidence.
of consumer confidence,
Yeah.
I suppose. But this is the perfect example of this start with your why. The book Start with Your
Yeah.
Why, or like if you want to be successful, get people to follow why you do things,
Yeah.
not what you do.
Yeah.
Because everyone's throwing money at Elon Musk and keeping it afloat. Or now, I don't know, right, the last year or two, but like the whole time, like he had no business being in business.
Yeah.
Like the amount of problems he had, the amount of money that he was burning through, the amount of investors he was pissing off, the amount of customers he was letting down.
Stuff he was going through.
Yeah,
It's
everything.
ridiculous.
But it was like everybody understands that if this kicks off, it's going to be the biggest car company in the world, and it's
True.
going to change the world. So
Yeah.
people believe in the why, so they don't give a fuck.
That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah.
So is it just so people just aren't buying Teslas?
I'm not actually sure why they're not making money and why they're burning through it so much. Early days, it was just getting all the procedures and all the processes and all, trying to figure out, because no car company in Detroit would have any, like they didn't have anyone to, they brought in people from places and stuff, but Elon Musk built like a bunch of tech guys and were like, go build a fucking electric car. And they're like, well, look, they didn't take much from like Detroit, and people can't, I'm pretty sure like there's, rules against like bringing over ideas and systems and stuff from like, all the regular, there's been no new car company that's started up in like 150 years.
Yeah.
No car company.
Yeah.
And so Elon was like, well, fuck, we'll build it like we would build it.
Yeah.
We'll build it like we'd never built a car before, and there was no such thing as cars.
Yeah.
We'll build what we think will work. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and that's why Teslas are so much different to all other cars. Not only the fact that they're electric, but the fact that they have like 12 parts. They a lot of the processes were new. New processes. So that's costly, I suppose.
Yeah.
Heaps of fuck ups. Heaps of
And what's
landing
his
back and
goal?
forth.
So with the rockets landing back down and stuff, his goal is to be able to for transport across the world.
No, his goal is to make money, but his goal is to set up a colony on Mars and give humans a second chance in case we do get hit by an asteroid. That's his main goal.
Yeah.
But his means to an end, money-wise, is his rockets. So, again, he built the rockets the same way he built cars. He didn't build them with fucking, like, get NASA's plans of the rockets that they've been building for 30, 40, 50, 60 years and go, right, let's build our version of this.
Yeah,
they build it from scratch.
Yeah.
So the way that they build it, they tried to outsource everything back in the early days. Now everything's built in America pretty much on site, I believe. I'm pretty sure. And he brought the cost of building a rocket down by fucking like 50%. But then he brought, because they're reusable, it's fucking 10 orders of magnitude cheaper to have a rocket and a space launch. So his thing is that he'll do take satellites into orbit. He already does this. Like that's how he makes money. Is taking satellites into orbit, refueling stuff at the International Space Station. So he has all these government. SpaceX has all these government contracts to keep him afloat, while he tries to fucking put people on Mars.
Which I think is pretty crazy. Like we were talking about earlier with evolution and how fragile life's evolved in the circumstances that the Earth has evolved itself. To then go try and live on Mars in a totally different place and survive. That's a crazy thought.
It's
Like,
fucking
that's crazy.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I can't comprehend it. I just don't think people would survive there.
I think what's most
You
scary.
just can't, like, the chances of there being another Earth out there with life like ours is so minute. Like, it's going to have to be the exact same circumstances up there for us to be able to survive.
No, but not to survive, though. But you build biodomes. No one's going to be walking around in, if you...
Of course there's biodomes, but that's not the Earth. Like...
No, that's right. It's
you know what I mean? You'll never duplicate what we have here, and you need that to survive.
Not to survive.
Well, to keep surviving, to have more generations successfully breeding and stuff, I think you definitely do.
So as in, like, what if the biodomes, like, break or something?
No, I'm just saying, like, the conditions that we live in, like the light frequencies we see at sunrise and sunset, the oxygen, the gravity, everything about the Earth is so unique.
No, for sure. But the whole thing, we won't be able to do anything on Mars unless there's no point in sending people up there unless we can create that environment inside of a bubble. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be living in bubbles.
I think they're definitely, obviously, that's what they're going to attempt, but I just don't think it's going to work.
Well, I reckon it'll work, and I reckon, like, they know how to. This is another thing that I think will happen, and I may be very, very wrong, but my theory is I think that, so they talk about, to make Mars fully sustainable is what you're saying is we need to terraform it, which is we need to turn it into Earth. And science, well, they kind of know to a degree what they would need to do, or have theories what they would need to do that. It's not sci-fi. It's not like we're not going to probably try and do that at one point. This is probably
not Total Recall.
No, that's right. It's but it might be like 1,000 years into the fucking future or whatever. But at that point, what do we need to terraform Mars for if we can terraform Earth?
Exactly.
We fuck this. But the thing is, it's just all about getting hit by an asteroid. That's Elon's number one thing. Like, if we get smashed by an asteroid, all intelligent life, the only intelligent life we know of is done. And then that's the backup plan is, we've got people on Mars and try and keep intelligent life alive that way. That's his whole thing. Save this planet and save the human race, a backup plan for the human race. That's his whole thing.
I think what was so interesting about that Grant Lewis episode was that he, because we probed him on the, do you think there's intelligent life out there? And he was like, nah. I just find it interesting when you have a talk with any sort of regular person. Like, surely you think about how many planets are out there. Like, there has to be. And Geraint's like, well, no, there's probably not. And that's I felt a bit empty when he said that. I was just like, oh, wow, we could be. Because then it just sparks all these other existential questions, where it's like, well, it's just weird then.
Why here?
Yeah.
Why here?
Yeah.
Tommy went religious.
Out of everything, why here? Oh, no, I listened to the podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
I went
I'm shocked. Hates religion.
Hilarious.
He was like, fuck it, I'm religious.
Yeah. Fuck. I just became full muzzy. Full Jew.
I like that.
I know. It was weird. It was really weird. Yeah, I don't know.
So I actually want to pick your brains here about this hunter-gatherer lifestyle that you're trying to get back to. But what have you done? Like, tell us. I know you've obviously off camera. You've informed us a little bit. But what are all the things that you've put in place that you reckon makes you happier day to day and whatever?
Just taking back basic skills in my life. Finding my food, growing my food, hunting my food. I picked up bow hunting about a year ago. So I did a lot of archery, and then I started hunting rabbits and things like that. Now I eat a lot of fresh rabbit, wild game.
Thought about picking on something your own size, mate?
Definitely. I've been stalking a lot of deer lately.
Have you?
I haven't
a lot of fresh people.
I haven't had a shot at a deer yet, but I've seen them with my eyes a lot. They're a beautiful creature, and I'd definitely love to be able to eat some, wild deer in the future. Have a freezer full, be able to give it to my friends and family. And, never have to buy unethically farmed meat again because no one should. Lots of rabbit, lots of seafood. When you think about when life began in the bottom of the ocean, probably 3.5 billion years ago, that's in our DNA. So I'm eating as much seafood as I can, twice a day.
Really?
At least, yeah. Lots of DHA in it, obviously, like omega-3 oils. Like, apparently I read something not that long ago that says supplementing it doesn't actually really work. So I'm eating as much fish as I can. I've been fishing a bit, but I'm pretty unsuccessful. My brother's a really good fisherman, so I've been trying to get him to take me out, and I've just been trying to learn myself. I got some freediving gear, so I started freediving because I want to start spearfishing. Growing vegetables. I just obviously moved down to the West Coast. I'm about an hour and 20 minutes out of Melbourne. There's a population of about less than 100 people in
Where
my
are you actually
little
living?
sub-suburb. It's called Brimley. It's in between Barwon Heads and Torquay. And it's this little sandy peninsula, and the beach is literally 45 seconds from my bed. And then there's a river right in front of my house, so I can fish the river in the morning and at night if the beach isn't good and stuff like that, if there's no surf. And we have no Wi-Fi in the house. We don't use artificial light, as in we barely turn our lights on at night. We do everything during the day, like I'll be cooking while the sun's still up, and then I use candles all throughout the house.
Crazy, right?
I'm barefoot all the time. I'm swimming in the ocean as much as I can, which has been super beneficial for my body because I've got back issues. So I used to cramp a lot, like all the time. I'd wake up in the middle of the night cramping. I don't cramp anymore. I drink only spring water. So I got like a spring water tower thing delivered to my house, and I get water delivered, and that's all I drink now, which is fantastic.
So do you feel better?
100%. Everything's changed. So many things have changed. My circadian rhythm is so in check. I wake up at first light every morning.
Really?
Like I wake up at first light without an alarm instantly.
Really?
Yeah, it's perfect.
You actually seem a bit different to when I first met you.
I'm so much more relaxed and calm, and I don't take my ADHD medication anymore. My brain's, my cognitive brain power is fantastic. It's a lot smoother than it was when I was on the ADHD medication. I could control my thoughts when I was on it, but it never felt natural. I now have that feeling through a natural means. I watch the sun rise and set with my own eyes every morning that I can. So I wake up before sunrise and I'll walk straight to the beach and I'll wait for the sun to come up, and I get the purple and blue and red light frequencies on my retina. I didn't know that your retina is connected directly to your brain. So that stops the production of melatonin when you get sunlight directly on your eye, and it starts the production of your hormones for the day.
Really?
And yeah, it's changed everything, man. I'm always watching the sunrise and set.
Wow.
It's fantastic. I sleep like a log.
That's pretty fucking
I'm doing a lot
intense.
of cold therapy. I've grounded my bed, so this is a little bit weird. But I've got like I bought this sheet off this website from New York called Less EMFs, and it's like a silk sheet, but it's got copper or something woven into it, and I've got a copper earthing cable from my sheet that I've taped onto it that runs down to a stake that I've smashed into the ground. So I'm constantly earthing in my bed.
Deep, mate.
I am sleeping so ridiculously well. My aches and pains
Where the
have
fuck
gone.
did you hear about that?
My mind is so much clearer. Like I wake up in the morning
Explain
and
the earthing your bed thing. Explain to me, like, why, though? Explain
because
to me.
we've disconnected from the earth. We've evolved sleeping on the earth, barefoot, connected directly to the earth. And now we've just decided that we don't need to do that for some reason because it's convenience, which we were talking about earlier. But just because something's convenient doesn't mean you should do it. Doesn't mean it's beneficial for you.
The luxuries that once were become necessities.
They're stripping us of who we are, of who we were, of how we've evolved. And it's also taking the lazy way out. I'm all about, I never take an elevator, I'll walk the stairs, like I'm always looking for that hard route. So going damn it, I walked into that one. But so I'm always just looking for the struggle and the way that we've evolved. I'm looking for those sort of routes in life.
And
there
so
you go again.
exactly, what about diet? So the way you're trying to work in with hunt and gather yourself, does it provide a sustainable amount of food?
Not constantly. It's getting better. I've been eating lots and lots of rabbit, which is a delicious white meat. I learned how to skin them via YouTube. Like I shot a couple of rabbits with my bow and was like, all right, now what do I do? And I was like, turn to YouTube.
Yeah,
100%.
So
just like the hunter-gatherers would have.
learn how to skin them and gut them and butcher them myself. Bought some really good butchering knives and I do all that myself, which is fantastic. And my connection to everything is like, it's so gratifying. Like I feel so accomplished, and when I give that meat to people, it's like this is a gift. Like I spent time acquiring this, like not just going out and shooting that rabbit, but that whole year of learning how to do archery before actually shooting something. That's all gone into that meat that I'm now giving on to someone else.
Do you know what, man? I think what you just said then was probably what I'll take away the most from this podcast, was that like everything
I've still got time. I've got a few more bombs to drop. Come on.
No, we're done now. But I think that's such a good point. Like everything that you do is purely gratifying because you're doing it all. You're doing it all. Everything. It's that convenience thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
Man, it's fantastic. Everything tastes better. The connection to the earth, even though I'm killing out there trying to kill stuff, it's like I'm part of the ecosystem when I'm doing it. I had this moment a few months ago where I was stalking in on some rabbits and I could hear some rustling in the bush to the right of me, and I look over and there's a fox and he's going through the bush. He's doing exactly what I'm doing. We locked eyes and then we both just pressed on hunting. And I was like, I was a part of the ecosystem then and there, and that's when I was like, that was a really grounding moment for me where I was like, like I'm meant to be doing this. Like it's so ingrained in my DNA. Like there's no, like everything about the hunting is so familiar. Like it's just in you.
Wow.
Like as soon as you start stalking, it's like, wow, like this is something that we should be doing, and it's something that I feel like people aren't doing enough. Like that's why people are so aggressive and they're so impatient. It's like if you start hunting, like you are just taught patience straight away, like if you're stalking in on something and you step on a twig and it hears you and runs away, you've been following that animal for half an hour. It's like you can't just scream and go, fuck it, I'm going to go buy some meat from the butcher, which you can do. But
I'm just going to go and have a wank tour in the bushes.
You compose yourself and you think, oh, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Why did that happen? And you learn from that situation. And I've had some bad hunting situations, and I've learned lots about myself. I've had some bad kills that I'm not too proud of, but haven't had them since. It's teaching me so many things about life in general that we're not learning because we're not doing that anymore. That's how we evolved, and that was a rite of passage for guys our age. You know what I mean? Like that's how we
Probably
became
younger
men.
than us even.
That's how we became men in the tribes. And we're not getting those things anymore because
Overcoming
we're just
those tasks.
it's
that's interesting.
It's really fucking interesting.
Interesting about the part about how it feels, right? I think of Ziggy.
That's so familiar.
I think of Ziggy when I took him down the beach when he was like 10 weeks old, and he'd fucking never seen water before, and I put him out on the sandbar, and I went in the deep section and I called him over, and he ran across the sandbar, and then he started running, and he's like, what's going on here? And he just started swimming. Like he'd never been in water before, and he just swam perfectly,
like a
doggy
little
paddled.
submarine, I can imagine. A little sausage dog submarine.
And but that was ingrained in him. Like he didn't. I didn't teach him how to swim. No one taught him how to swim.
No.
Evolutionarily ingrained.
Yep, absolutely.
It's pretty interesting.
Well, this is the thing, right? So I'm just I just finished reading a book called Rewire Your Anxious Brain, which is a really good. It's anxiety from a neuroscientific perspective, and a lot of the stuff we learn is just purely based over time. It's so behavioural, and there's two ways you can get anxiety, and or two ways that it come into the brain. That's through the cortex, so that's through thought-provoking. And it's this beautiful survival mechanism where it's like a bird swoops at you, for example, and you go, oh shit, and then you get that initial response, that acute cortex response where you start getting thoughts of you're like, oh, hang on, geez, the bird just came at me, I've got to be aware now, right? And so those thoughts become associated in the amygdala with behavior. So the amygdala, which are like these two little almond things on either side, they refer to it as one, but there are these two on either side of the brain, the left and right hemisphere. But it takes on behavior through association, right? So you could say you're allergic to Vegemite sandwiches because for some pure reason, for no reason at all, you were eating a Vegemite sandwich when you were 10 years old, and you got a bee sting. So your amygdala has taken on that association of the pain, so the danger, with eating Vegemite, and so all of a sudden now you're always tentative whenever you go and eat Vegemite sandwiches. But everything about this understanding, number one, just coincides completely with what we're saying, is that everything of who we are is through learnt patterns. And it just made me think that it's so easy for us to get things now. We don't have to learn how to eat meat. We don't have to learn how to do this. There's a YouTube tutorial for everything. Where, I mean, how else do you get a sense of fulfillment without achieving difficult tasks? Because it's ingrained within us.
In this materialistic world, it's a different thing now. It's now about acquiring wealth and power.
But that's not fulfilling. It's literally
definitely
evolutionarily not fulfilling.
Yeah.
No, it's different. It's different. It's actually different reactions inside your brain. It's
they're pleasure responses.
Yeah, pleasure responses compared to contentness and whatever, I suppose.
But the pleasure responses. So I mean, dopamine. Endorphin is actually endogenous morphine, so it's naturally produced when you get that feeling, and exercise gives you that feeling of endogenous morphine. All those things that came about back in the day, in the caveman era and the ancestral era, all that sort of stuff, all those pleasure responses and those hormones were excreted when we overcame something. So literally gratitude and feel-good hormones were intertwined for that reason, so that we would become addicted to actually continually gaining a sense of fulfillment. It's like you skinned a rabbit, you've hunted a rabbit, you've skinned a rabbit, and then you're putting it on the plate. It's like, I feel great because I've given my family a meal, I worked hard for it, and I'm reaping the reward with all this serotonin.
Definitely.
And now we get serotonin through like drugs, through buying shit,
through notifications,
through
on
notifications.
Facebook,
Mate,
dopamine
that's
releases.
the biggest one.
It's
It's
shocking.
ridiculous.
That's the biggest one. I was talking to Caroline. She works here. She's the digital. She does all the digital marketing, basically. She's a champion and a good buddy of mine. And she's just done kind of what you've done a little bit. Like, she lives by herself and she's literally just gotten rid of all of her electronics. And now she was like, she'd had a rough couple of days. She's like, I'm walking home tonight. It was 2 hours. She's like, I need to just walk home. And then every night now she just goes home and just sits, reads, fucking does a little bit of exercise and goes to bed. And for the reason that she wants time back in her life,
Yeah, definitely.
Because I said to her, like, I'm at the point now where I always sit on the couch because I'm fucked, man. I'm nothing like you. Like, I know about the right things. I look after myself to a lot of degrees, but I'm sucked right in the digital world. It fucking controls
It's your
me.
life, though.
No, but it doesn't have to be. I don't have anything to do with Adventure Fit's email, social media, the production of the podcast. I have my Instagram and my Facebook, and that's it. I mean, I oversee things from time to time, but all the structures are in place. I don't do any of it. I don't have anything to do with it. I don't have to. I can go off the grid for 6 months. The social media will be fine. So it's a sure.
It's a stalking problem.
I have to do that. Yeah. I have to do that. I do our advertising, Facebook ads and stuff, the back end of Facebook, But I sit there on the phone, and I mentioned this to Caroline. I sit there on the phone, and literally I'll be on Instagram or whatever, and I get sucked in, and fucking 20 minutes goes by, and I literally realise, and so often now I don't get angry or riled up too much. I'll literally go, fuck. Like, that's it. Angers me. It angers me.
And we can't control it, though.
No. It's
And
addiction. It's the same as it's addiction, like fucking heroin addiction,
Yeah.
And it's all the smartest people with the biggest budgets
That's
in the
right.
world
That's
are
exactly
spending
right.
all their money and all their budgets on making us addicted.
money.
Because our attention provides dollars in their bank account.
Yep.
That's
How many times have you
advertising.
pulled your phone out to check the time and then realised half an hour's gone by and you're looking at something stupid on
Yeah.
Facebook?
Or I pull my phone out. 2 days ago, I pulled my phone out to check the time, and someone goes, "You got to watch, bro." I'm like, "Oh yeah." I'm
Some
just, but I just,
Wow.
no, but
Who
I
is
just,
that?
yeah,
What
yeah.
a fucking smartass.
Yeah,
You
no.
gotta watch, dickhead.
I know.
Thanks, mate. But
I know.
jeez.
Observation, though.
I know,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I don't use this thing. I did use it just before, but it's because my phone's over there. I went, where's my phone? Like, it's just, it's your everything, But I just think, but I think that'll all change. I think there's another thing that'll change. I think that'll all be regulated and stuff in the future. I think Facebook and Instagram and Google and whatever, I don't think they'll be able to get away with
Do you
it
ever
for too
try and
much
turn
longer.
your data off or anything? Like, I don't use my mobile data on during
I've
the day.
tried everything,
I turn
mate.
it on at certain periods of the day.
Siera, listen to this. I got my fucking phone and I put it on, I deleted Facebook and Instagram and I put it on grayscale. My brand new, this is about
grayscale?
2.5 years, black and white.
Okay.
Just about 2.5 years ago, I had my brand new, at the time, whatever, iPhone 7, whatever it was, shiny, nice looking phone, I put it on grayscale full time, looked like shit, so I'd stop using it. You know what I'd do? This is no joke. I would go onto the server, Safari, and I would go on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I deleted the apps.
A lot
but
of people do that.
Yeah, and on grayscale.
Yeah.
And then I've deleted the apps, and I used to send, for my personal Instagram, I used to send one of my guys in the Philippines, I used to send him a photo and the copy. Here's a photo, here's a copy. On Slack, which is not a social media, it's just a communication channel.
Yeah.
Post this for me. Did that for like 3 or 4 months, back on it. I've done copious amounts of different things to try and get away from it, and I can't. But I think, and maybe I will, but I think it'll be, and I've said this so many times, I think I've said it on the podcast heaps, but I think it'll be like cigarettes, Cigarettes, nobody knew how bad they were for you. Everyone was happy to smoke. And now, cigarettes are fucking nearly banned everywhere. They have warning labels. I think social media will have a warning label in 10 years.
Phones will. Like,
Yeah.
Especially
phones
for
are-
radiation, man.
Yeah, microwaves. Like, they're sitting in our pocket next to our ball sack.
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah.
Like, they're so bad for us.
Yeah,
Do you know
see, I
what's
don't
really-
even mean about...
I've got
I
an
don't even mean...
anti-radiation case on mine, actually.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, it's awesome.
See,
And
I
I
don't
don't
even-
let it charge in my room. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even mean like that, the radiation or whatever. I just mean the addiction to your phone and the wasting your time, but the depression that comes with that. Because, and I'm sure I've said this on the podcast, so forgive me, if you've heard me say this before, but cigarettes were great, no worries. We thought, or, people thought they were great. And then we figured out...
helped with asthma.
We figured out that they cause cancer, which kills people. So now they're regulated and there's warning labels and people are getting away from it. Social media, high levels of social media use correlates straight with depression, which kills people. I think it's because people can only get away with it for so long. Like once governments will do something about this, it'll become an epidemic. It'll be fucking out of control.
once more studies come out and
It'll be-
people band
yeah.
together and there's more of an outrage, then the government will be forced to do something.
It'll
They're
be
not
when-
going to
it'll
do
become like
something off
sugar.
their own bat.
Yeah.
No, it'll be when that's right, but it'll be when kids that are 5 years old who've grown up with Instagram since 5 years old become 25, 30 years old. That's when it'll happen. So it'll be,
Everyone's
I think
committing
it'll be
suicide
15 years from now, and it'll be people that are all fucked up. They're all kinds of fucked up. Our attention spans are fucking garbage. No one's got an attention span anymore. I was talking to Adam Bostic in here again yesterday about it. Sounds like a doomsday podcast what we're recording now, but it's just interesting.
It's a reality podcast, man.
Yeah, I was talking to Adam about it. We were both discussing how we have no fucking attention spans anymore. Like to try and get a task done without going, what's next? What am I doing? Check my phone. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck this task. I'll leave that. I'll get back to that. I'll check an email. Like that's because of social media. It's drained out. It's fucking squeezed our attention spans down to
Little things.
yeah, and it's because that's how your attention, that's how your brain's working. Habitually, it's like you want that instant little short fixes, and you can't concentrate on anything anymore. That's real. Like it's fucking crazy.
You said before how the marketers come together with the biggest budgets to feed into this whole system. Even as something as the notification being red. Do you know the color
Yeah.
red? Do you know why we all are attracted to the color red?
It was when females were on heat. Was
Bulls.
it female?
Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Is it bulls or is it monkeys?
So
Or
it
parts
was-
of the female monkey inflame and become red when they're on heat?
Yeah, right. I didn't know that one.
read
But
that.
from what I heard was that a lot of fruit becomes ripe when it's red. So when we pick it, it was the right time. So we knew that we could get those feel-good hormones because we were about to eat food.
Red definitely gives you the most endorphins for sure.
Yeah.
Whether it's fucking, don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it's from. But you could be right. Whatever. But yeah,
We're
it's
both
definitely.
right.
Yeah, I think we're both right.
Yeah. We're never wrong, man.
Do you look at your phone much and do you seek distraction much when you're outside walking, Ziggy, when you're down the beach?
No.
Do you walk bare feet or with shoes on?
Shoes on. Yeah.
On the beach? That's blasphemy.
No, not on the beach. But when
Okay.
I'm walking,
Such a
Ziggy,
good
just
way to
out
get
randomly.
radiation out of your body when you're actually walking on the beach in the sand.
But no, I. It depends what I'm doing. I am so fucked with busyness right now, which is really annoying. I will take my phone out and if I'm walking to work, I'll sometimes be on my phone for fucking like most of that time. But I'm sending emails and doing shit. I'm walking to work, but I'm gonna fucking work while I'm doing it. And that was only really from what Tony Doherty said, But
Begs the question: would you rather be happy or more productive with Adventure Fit? Happier or more productive?
Yeah, well, happier, obviously. But the thing is, and it's a good question, you've got me there, I've got no leg to stand on. But Adventure Fit's still, we're not in cruise mode, we're in survive mode still. And that's my fault. Like, if I kept everything nice and stable and everything low-key and didn't, like, as well as anyone, like, every cent that goes into Adventure Fit, even though we're not financially stable, I put into fucking starting something new or growing something or hiring someone or whatever, and that's all well and good. But I put the pressure on myself. My philosophy is the best defense is the best form of offense, and I'm gonna fight, spend, grow, and smash my way to success.
That's your thing, though. That's your thing. Like, that's
Yeah.
what you're trying to succeed in, which is awesome. You grab it by the balls and going as hard as you can.
Yeah,
Like,
which is cool. Like, there's no issues. But I do know it's, I could have done... We don't have to have this podcast. This podcast doesn't move the needle on ticket sales as much as if I spent 500 fucking hours and 20 grand over the journey. If I spent that amount of time and that amount of money on just selling tickets that are going to provide revenue...
Or the same amount of time you do with the podcast on sales.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. If I did, then we'd be $50,000 better off.
Yeah.
So I'm an idiot in a way, but I'm also not creating a travel company. I'm creating a lifestyle brand. I love doing this, whatever. And, you know, whether I'm doing it right or wrong, I think a lot of people would say I'm doing it wrong. Like, you should really solidify yourself, dominate one market, move into the next, or grow like that, you know? But I've kind of gone like, we're going to do this, 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 and this, and we're going to grow them all. And nothing that we've started really has failed. But it's not... Yeah, so I'm under my own due pressure. You know, like, I've done it to myself. I understand that. But
it also begs the question that, you know, if you... Let's just say tomorrow you're like, fuck it, I'm going to do a Tommy Siera lifestyle and just give up Adventure Fit, you know. You'd be happier because you'd be more in tune with your body and your mind, but then you'd also have that looming thing of like, I wonder what Adventure Fit could have been. Yeah, no, well, that's the thing. At the moment, I'm in the really envious position at the moment where a lot of the time, like, I have to force myself to go to the gym. I have to force myself to get away from my desk. I have to force myself because I work hard as fuck. It's not my nature to do so. It's only through necessity. But when necessity comes, I can do it. I can work very, very hard, and I have been for a long time. Once I don't have to do that, I won't be doing that. You know, I won't be working super hard. But it's always been working through fear and stress and whatever. And now I'm working so, like, Sunday, and I should have given myself the full day off, but I sat there Sunday and I fucked around on Canva and made all these thumbnail pics for our YouTube channel, for all of our videos and stuff. They look sick. People are like, who the fuck did them? I'm like, I did. And just did all this shit, all this stuff that didn't need to be done. I don't need to be creating fucking thumbnail pics for our YouTube channel, but I wanted to do it because I'm really proud of how the YouTube channel looks. I'm really stoked that people get to see all the stuff we're doing. Yeah. Now, you have to drag me away from work because I'm so excited about how much fucking good stuff's going on and how much positive impact, you know? So, for me, your
whole aim with Adventure Fit is to touch other people's lives and inspire them to travel. And now that you've gained like a following, you're actually now touching people. So it's like
it's addictive.
You're reaching them, but you're fulfilling what you set out to do, and you're like, you're putting more time into it because you're like, it's actually working. Like, I'm getting there, and that's pretty noble. Like, there's 100%. Nothing wrong with that, man. Like,
no. I'm not saying there is for sure. I'm saying I'm working a lot, but it's good. Like yesterday, I tagged you in the thing. We got a thing. Oh no, you got the email as well from that chick that said, you know, chick wrote to Brianna.
She'll be listening to the show actually.
She will, of course. She will. Yeah. Brianna.
Thank you so much, Brianna. We love you. We love you.
This chick, Brianna, wrote to us and just tagged. Wrote to both me and Tommy at our Adventure Fit emails and said, hey guys, just want to let you know, every day I listen to your podcast and it makes my day better. Thank you so much, Brie, or whatever.
That's awesome.
And we get shit like that all the time. But yesterday was funny. Like, I had like fucking
8.
Yeah. I had like fucking, it would have been like 5 or 6 things happen in that day. Like 3 different DMs from random people, someone reaching out on fucking somewhere else, that email, like all this, you know, just thank you. And it's fucking mad.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that keeps you going forward.
Super cool.
And the whole thing, yeah, that's right. So, I know exactly what I'm doing now, you know. It's Adventure Fit, and this is my personal brand. It says it on my Instagram. It says it on Adventure Fit. It says it, the pillars of it. I know our story now. I know, because I've never really been 100% solidified. I knew kind of what I'm trying to do and whatever, but we're trying to improve the world through travel, exercise, mindfulness, and conversation. They're our 4 pillars, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're here to do. That's what my fucking goal in life is. If I fail and Adventure Fit doesn't succeed and you know, whatever, then I don't know what I'll do. But it's good that I've reached that point because, like I said, it was always out of like, I'm just trying to make a living, I'm trying to make a thing out of this company, and it was fear, what I'm going to do otherwise, blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, I've got my fucking life goal. I'm creating the fucking sickest positive impact, and I'm working like a motherfucker, but productively and excitedly and like, you know, it's
fulfilling a lot of your creative needs though as well. Like,
you know,
you're saying you're putting so much time and effort into the podcast. It's like, you had to do that, like with my skydiving photography and like creative video edits. It's something I'd had on my mind for years, and I was like, I want to get into that. And it just, every time I thought about it, I started to get angry because I hadn't done it yet. And then I finally did it, and it was a weight off my shoulders. I was like, I'm so glad I've done this. Like, whether anyone else gives a shit or not or watches it, like, at least I've done it. At least it's out of my head, and I can kiss that thought goodbye. And now I'm doing it.
Yeah, some people aren't creative, but
do you know what? I think for me personally, the biggest thing for me with the book, with writing the book, was, like you said, fulfilling that creative need. Because I wrote the first draft of the book in 20 days, and it was just a thing of like, oh fuck, this is what I've been wanting to say for years. This is what I've been wanting to get out of my head, you know. And it's like it was the top 5 things that have the best things that ever happened to me. Just like to get all that onto a piece of paper, you know. And like for you, for example, in like building this company, you have this gut feeling. You're almost like spiritually so passionate about trying to inspire the world through fitness and travel and your 4 pillars and stuff, that it just comes naturally. You know, you probably didn't even have a conscious choice in creating those thumbnails, but you just do because it's like, oh yeah, I've just got to do this now. And next thing you know, the whole day's gone. You know,
But it's always a step forward in the right direction.
For sure.
I think when you fundamentally when you follow those like visions that you have and those physical responses, those gut feelings that make you really, really excited, you just start smiling, you know. Even if it doesn't take you anywhere, it has to be done. Has to be done.
Yeah. Well,
It's fantastic that you can roll into a job and spend your day doing something that you totally love. Like I have a trade business. That's how I make my crust mostly. Like I make a little bit from skydiving, but it's more of a lifestyle thing. And I hate working. Like like my business is successful because I'm good at what I do, but it's like at the moment I'm only working 2 to 3 days a week. I just line the jobs up, go in, smash it out, and pretend like those 3 days never happened, and then I spend the rest of my time focusing on those things that I desperately want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and those things that I want to learn, and the things that are going to help me evolve as a better person.
Yeah, but that's what happens. That's what happens. Like you were doing trade work for a while whilst you were kind of doing half
what you gotta do.
fit,
Yeah, no,
until
for
you
sure.
can start building an income up to when you can
Definitely
do what you want to do the whole time.
well, yeah, I'm doing me, I'm gonna take those mushrooms and do them in the float tank on Monday.
That's a fantastic idea.
Booked in.
Have you ever done mushies in a float tank?
Never done a float tank.
Oh mate, you'd
I
love
know.
it.
What?
I'm gonna do one. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Mr. Caveman over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never done one. I
Yeah,
found
no,
out there's
great.
a place in Geelong, so I'm gonna go there
Yeah, they're popping up everywhere.
as soon as I can.
They are.
This
They
dude
are.
reckons. This dude. I was talking to the owner of the float tank, and he said that his mate goes in there all the time with mushies, and his mate takes mushies. He's just very highly qualified at taking psychedelics, whatever. And he said that he went in. He's done a hero dose a bunch of times on mushies, and he reckons that he went into a float and did 1 gram in a float tank, and he said it was the equivalent of a hero dose on the outside.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
It'd be terrifying.
Yeah, so I've got like all my playlists lined up. I'm gonna get waterproof iPhone. Earphones and stuff to listen to this fucking mad playlist I got.
Do you not just want to do it with no stimulus?
Nah, I want to go with the playlist.
Why is that?
Because the music for the first time I did the music was such a strong part, and I've got like all these mad ayahuasca playlists. It's not ayahuasca obviously, but Jaden, my mate who did the ayahuasca just recently, and he reckons when he meditates, he listens to, and I think he said he done mushies with this playlist as well, but he reckons when he meditates even with this music, it gets him back to where he was with ayahuasca. No, I'm just gonna look. I can take him out. I've got control of my mind when I'm in it. You know, if I feel like maybe I'll do both. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I really fucking, especially by myself, I really like the music part of it.
It was definitely a big influencer when I used to do them, for sure. I haven't done mushrooms in a long time. I wouldn't mind slowly working back through them because my last episode was so negative. Wouldn't mind just doing a few hits in there. On the last episode when you were talking about microdosing, I was like, that was intriguing to me, for sure. Like just doing little things.
Definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
Just slowly build up, figure out your tolerance and your comfort zone around it. It's good to push the boundaries every now and again and get a little scared and connect a little deeper. I listen to a lot of Indian chanting when I do it. Like,
that's pretty much like the place that I've got. It's a lot.
Just drumming and their voices are incredible. It's so cool.
So
takes you to different places.
I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there.
How do you get yourself out of a negative right then?
Just try and relax. Just really try and relax.
Yeah.
Just try and focus in on just either breathing or just something. Like, usually, if it's a negative, it's because you've repressed. Like, for me, it's something that I've repressed. Like, if there's something I didn't deal with or something that I dealt with in a wrong way and I've pushed it to the back of my subconscious, like, I'm having a negative time because that needs to come out. And you just have to go, all right, I'm going to fucking deal with this situation. I'm going to deal with those thoughts now, and it ends here. And then you work through those thoughts, and then you come out the other side, and you are, for lack of a better term, reborn. Like,
It's
you
literally
just
the
feel
most-
cleansed.
It's like the most hectic exposure therapy you can do, hey?
Oh, definitely. Like, yeah, it's...
So I'll let you know how I go, boys. I think we might have to wrap it up though, fellas.
Cool.
Good sesh.
Words of advice, Tommy, to leave us with?
Instead of... Everyone's always looking for ways to better their environment or better their health, and they're always adding to it. Like, everyone's adding things into their daily routine. Take some things out. Strip back.
Good advice.
See if you can deal with it.
I think it's the way to do it as well.
Mad.
Minimalism was the best thing that ever happened to me, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, just made my life so much easier.
Yeah.
The best.
It honestly does.
Cool. Well, all right. Siera, thanks for coming on the show, brother.
Thanks for having me, boys.
All right, mate.
It's always a pleasure.
That's a wrap.
Discovery Roger, go for deploy.